Hey YouTube, what's going on? So I just want to give everybody an update on what's going on with the garage and all the work that I've been doing in the past few weeks, about 2 or 3 weeks since the last update, maybe longer. So a lot has happened. Let me switch the camera around and walk you through what's going on and what we've been doing. So, all right, so I'm going to start at the ceiling. So we talked about this last time a little bit. But all the electrical is done now. It's passed inspection. Everybody's signed off on it. Good to go. I still need to get up there and put a light cover on. But anyway, or outlet cover. But anyway, we have 96 feet. So it's 8 foot, 8-foot LEDs per strip. And there's 4 sections of that. So 96 feet of LEDs. And then along the walls, we have a whole bunch of outlets. You can see here, a lot. I put probably way more than I showed, but anyway, I believe it's 20 outlets in here now. And then over there, you can see the light switches. So I have 2 lights, one up there, and then 2 lights on the outside for my outside lighting. And then those go to switches, and then so what I did for the top lights is each bay has a switch. So that way, let me show you this. That way you can turn them off and on as needed. So this is bay 1, and flip that back on, and then bay 2. The reason I did that is just so, if you're out here and you don't want like a ton of light, for whatever reason, you can just flip them on and off for whatever bay you're working in. And then back here along the back wall is where I'm starting the next phase of this, which is insulation and sheeting. So what I'm going to be doing with this, and you can kind of see along the bottom how it's going. I'm taking foam board, which is sheeted foam board. So there's foil on the other side, and then like this white wrapper on this side. And I'm cutting that down. And what I've done here, let me go show you guys over here. So what I've done here is I've taken an L bracket and screwed that into this 2x4. And then we cut those and screwed them up at the top and then screwed them down the bottom. Just need one. I'm not trying to, hold it. I mean, it's not going anywhere. And what I've done that for, let me back up so you can see the rest of the wall. What I've done that for is so that when we put the sheeting on, this is 4-foot centers. So that way, now that they're pieces of 2x4 in the middle, we now have 24-inch studs in the center post. And that'll make it a lot easier to screw in the plywood. So I'm going to do, at least on the back wall, probably the whole thing, honestly. I'm going to do plywood sheeting. I got some smooth face plywood. And that way, I can basically screw in anything I want to the walls. So hang anything I want. Obviously, I'm not going to hang anything crazy heavy. This isn't like a full like iron building or post frame building, so it's not that strong. I wouldn't go hanging like, pieces of like metal, huge pieces of metal, or like trying to put shelving up that's holding a bunch of stuff, but it will certainly hold a lot more than your typical tubular steel building, just because of the way that kind of framed it out here. So these 2x4s give it a little bit more support. And then, also it is framed 4 foot on center with the vertical paneling having these horizontal purlins going across. And then that way, you really have a sound structure for hanging anything you want. So you can see down here what I've been doing. This is kind of a process just because you had to cut and measure everything. So what I've done here is I've taken this foam board. It's 1.5 inch. I tried to get 2 inch, but I'm using polyiso board, not some of the other foam, which is EXP or I forget the other one. There's one other type. This polyiso is the highest insulation R value per inch. So, for example, this is 1.5 inches thick, and it has an R value of R 9.1, or excuse me, 9.3 R value for just a 1.5 inch thick piece. I tried to get 2-inch thick pieces, but nowhere in my entire, nowhere that I could find anywhere in my state had 2-inch thick. Lowe's had it at one point, but it's been sold out for many months now. So went ahead and did 1.5 inch thick, which is plenty because, like I said, the R value is just as high as the 2-inch thick of the other foam board. And the bonus of that is having a 1.5 inch thick is you actually have an air gap. You have an air gap with these ridges right here, which is good, but you also have a 1/2 inch thick behind it, a 1/2 inch air gap behind it. And what I'm doing here, you can kind of see, I'm taking some foam glue and then kind of filling in the cracks. Kind of got a little bit extra here, but anyway, filling in the cracks as best I can because you're not going to cut it precise. I'll show you how we're cutting in a second. Getting it as tight as I can and then filling in the cracks with the foam. And then what I'm going to do, let me see if I can find it over here. Sorry, this is a bit of a junk pit. I've got this tape right here, which is foil tape. And I'm going to go down basically and tape the seams best I can. So that way, when you have your sheeting connected with this, especially it's really important with this metal. The wood, not as much, but right here, when you have your sheeting, you're going to want to cover this metal post with this foil tape. And the reason for that is you will get thermal conductivity coming from, basically coming from this metal panel, touching this, and then coming out and touching your wood. And so when that happens, you lose thermal value and you lose insulation temperature control, right, at your joints. And you can even see that if you have, it even happens a little bit with this thermal barrier that I have up in the roof on really extreme temperature changes. So like, let's say the sun's out and then it starts raining and there's a huge temperature drop. You can see on some of the ridges where the metal touches the metal of the roof, and you can see that's like the thermal barrier being broken. You can see like there's a little bit of different condensation, or not necessarily condensation, I don't know what exactly it is, forming. So what you're trying to do is break that barrier by putting that tape up. The other thing I've seen people do is put huge rolls of foam, like this stuff basically, across the top of your wall, which adds another layer of R value, but not much, maybe like 2. Like that stuff up there is nothing. I'll put more sheeting in the roof eventually, but that just kind of creates a thermal break. You can do it with tape is the cheapest, and having this foam board here is going to be enough. I mean, I am going to put an AC unit in here, but I'm not trying to make it as comfortable as like a house or something, right? So just enough to knock the heat off and the cold off in the winter. And then, I'm basically doing the back wall first. So that way, that's where most of my sun comes in. You're going to hit that first. 2 reasons. One, I want to put plywood up and go ahead and get that going so I can put shelves up back here and mount tools and pegboard and all that stuff. And then I have a TV that's going up here. But anyway, do that first. But I got to do this in stages because it's not cheap. So these foam sheets, the 1.5 inch thick was $39 a piece. And then the 2x4s were like $3.50 a piece. And then of course the brackets and all that stuff. But altogether, by the time you buy the foam spray for the little corners, the tape, the boards, all that stuff, I'm looking at like $700 a wall to insulate this. Maybe a little bit less for the big walls. This front wall obviously doesn't have as much because you have the doors. So that's not going to be quite as bad to do. But we'll see how that goes. give you guys an update on what's going on and the building progress. So try and post another video soon and show you all of that. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments and subscribe. And thanks for watching. Have a good one.